So one of the main features of the village are these half-timbered buildings. Remember in England they're known as the Tudor style. Some old chimneys. Yeah. So this is the village square or the village center. Unfortunately, it's also used as a car park. Actually, I do feel that it distorts the view a little bit, but I mean the buildings are still really nice. That even with the cars, I feel like there is a lot to take from them. So just from a sequence point, we will start with the castle and then explore other parts of the village. Alright, so let's make our way to the castle. I like some of these old vintage cars, and you see them a lot around places like this. Really nice. So this is the castle grounds just in front of us. Yeah, I thought as much. This is actually do you call it an effigy to the pilgrims who would normally use this route on their way to Canterbury. Yeah, we shall explore the parts of this. But for now, let's just check out the castle grounds. These are some Tudor type chimneys. That's interesting. Hello. Sorry. Anyways, that's fine. I'll just make do. Thank you. So I'm just going to read you some information that that I have about the castle. So it says the castle, as you know, was built by Sir Dudley Bridges in 1616 CE using the remains of the earlier Norman castle. So telling you there was a Norman castle here before this. So he terraced the lands and the slope to the Stour Valley. In 1776, Lancelot Capability, that's an alias Capability Brown, was consulted by the owner, Thomas Huron, and the interrupted views from the house to the parkland that we enjoy today, the uninterrupted views that we enjoy today, were created by Brown's ha-ha design. Have we heard of the ha-ha design before? I'll give you a bit more information on that. So a lot more changes were made in the 18th and So in the 19th and 20th century, mainly under the ownership of Sir Charles Stuart, where most of the landscape that we will see today were also put. And yeah, so it's a main feature of the city, and actually there is a lot of attention that is dedicated to maintaining it. I love that tree. So, like I said, it's a private house which is currently occupied. So you can see the no entry sign there.
The castle dates back to the Norman times, as far back as 1174 AD. We see this in the polygonal keep at the other side of the castle, so it actually makes it one of the oldest buildings in not just the village but in Great Britain as a whole.
So these parts are inaccessible to the public, at least from an exploration point, but you can view it obviously. During the last transfer from the castle, I did manage to buy several items from the castle. Was being sold, so we actually have quite a large landscape garden here, in a mix of styles. So you can see a lot of evidence of the French landscape garden there, with the trees being cut, but also it does still have strong features of the English landscape garden, where things are able to grow more naturally, as we will explore, especially downwards towards the stream. So you can see that there. So we will be exploring all of that subsequently, and this is before heading back to the village. Such an impressive ground, I must say. I've always found it quite interesting.
The old Norman portion did come under the ownership of King Henry VIII. It actually hosted a series of kings in medieval times and queens as well, and other historic celebrations for again most of the 12th to 19th century. The current Jacobean Manor House, that's the one in red bricks, was built especially for Sir Dudley Digges, and was completed in 1616 in a hexagonal plan with 5 angled ranges and 6 left open.
Oh, so we can still see some remains of the Norman castle there, and this is the current one. So it means that the castle has always existed in these grounds for up to 1,000 years. This is likely Tudor. I think you can see from the chimneys there, they do give you the impression of a Tudor era type building. Let's go up the stairs and see if we can get closer view.
It was said to have been built by King Henry II originally, although archaeological excavations carried out in the 1920s suggest that it stands on the foundation of a much older Anglo-Saxon fortification, possibly dating from the 7th century.
I wouldn't have guessed that there were so few visitors today. However, it might be because the site is a little bit difficult to access in terms of the visiting times. So that's the normal castle there, which I'm not sure is still in use today. But it's nice that it remains, at least to show the very origins.
In June 1320, Chilham Castle was a venue for a reception which was hosted by King Edward II and his entourage when they arrived there on their way to Dover, whilst going to France as the final destination. It is one of the finer mansions in southeast England and commands exceptional views across the River Stour in Kent. The castle's landscape, as we'll see, features gardens that are meticulously designed in what feels like a blend between the French and English landscape style. It was mainly done by the architect Capability Brown, a weird name, but that's his name, offering great views across the Stour Valley.
So we will make our way to other parts of the grounds. So when you take this way, you do have a section which is into the trees, and observe this statue there. And here seems to be a grotto. So that seems like the Nativity. That's for those of you who don't know, that's the birth of Jesus Christ, at least a depiction of that. And yes, this is the orchard part of the castle. And behind the orchard is the orangery, which entry is also prohibited. And that's it there. Alright, so let's make our way to other sections of the grounds. So here you have, let's first take a view from here. There are local wines produced in Chilham and Chatham, so where possible you do have the vine fields. But we get a very good view of the castle from here. That's a vine field.
The nature of the park landscape, including the avenue of trees, secret gardens, and wild woodlands, still remains quite pristine till today and captured, great minds, including that of Shakespeare.
So we head into the lower parts of the ground, mainly towards the pond. We have
The current owner of the castle is Tisha Amin.
usually for a large stately home, the English landscape would always feature things like a pond and some sort of building in the middle of the pond. So, does this have any? Let's move to the other side to see. It should have something. That's the castle from a distance. Here. this would be to the center.
The castle had also been known in medieval times to have hosted events such as jousting, which King Henry did favour quite well. The castle was also used for filming.
That's it for the most part. There is a small building right at the end there, but because of time, we won't be able to go through. So, yeah, that's your view of the pond. And behind us there is the castle. I like the little Viking up there, just adds that bit of extra to it. But remember that for such kinds of farming, you're not going to have that all times of the year. So do think about the time of the year when it's best to visit. If you came here in the winter, it will look so much more different. This is the start of autumn, so it's worth keeping in mind. So yeah, I think we've covered some important parts of the ground of the castle, so we can hopefully make our way to see more of the village. Hello.
Hello.
Don't mind the heavy breathing. It is quite a hill. You may not realize it, but it is. Oh, we've still got more to go. small lawn tennis court. Maybe the owner does like to play a bit of tennis. I hope you enjoyed the brief tour of the castle grounds. So we'll proceed to other parts of the city. Lion statues, always seen historically as exotic, and that's why in terms of emblems they were usually reserved for the monarchy as opposed to noble or statesmen. Partly due to the fact that they were not commonly found in, or at least naturally found in, Europe. Thank you. So, alright, let's look at the parish church before proceeding to other parts of the village. It's actually a small village, I think mainly made up of the castle grounds, so that forms the larger chunk of it. Yeah, features a lot of Tudor buildings, cottages. The Tudor peacock. So these are all family homes actually, as opposed to businesses. What a beautiful cottage. That's the local village pub, the White Horse, I guess. So you can come for a pint, some pub type food, and we normally would have live music. Alright. Alright, so let's proceed to the parish church. So this is St. Mary's Church, Chilham, or St. Mary's Parish. As usual, you'd always see a memorial to the Great Wars, especially to local residents that may have lost their life as a result. This is it has an Anglo-Norman type feel, doesn't it? At least some sections of it gives you the feel of a Norman castle fort. So I don't know currently all the history to the church, but I will insert some information as I can in the caption. So just have a look there. Quite interesting, the old English there, where you have what like yet with double T. She says she was freer than most women, wiser than most men, neither in her own opinion longer than she pleased. So she with double E. Quite interesting and interesting patterns. That's the altar and the choir. That's the pipe organ. A lot of these stained glasses do feel a bit more modern than you would find in most historic churches, but still nice nonetheless. So this is still related to the Diggs family. So most memorials here are related to the Diggs family, who, were the initial owners of the castle. Alright, so with that we will proceed to other sections of the village. Just have some last view of the church. Now, how's that mix of Norman and Gothic type? Again, mainly centered around the Diggs family. In fact, the village by extension is centered around that family. That seemed like a dead end. Let's see. Let's just go out through the way we came. Safer that way.
floating and all that. No, yeah. Get as many of them as you want. Most of my bench now. I think I'm using about 10.
Let's check this portion of the village. Alright. Clovers. Okay, these just link to the church. That's a really large Tudor house. There's the post office. One of the smallest I've ever seen, if I'm honest. So this is the Woolpack. It's also a pub. They make really excellent pie and mash here. So if you want to have that, you can visit. The price is a bit on the high side, but it's really worth it in terms of the taste. So this pub dates back to 1480, which is quite old. But yeah, a really nice pub. So that's the back entrance. This is a more modern build. also making our way back to the village center where we'll round up for today, and I hope you had a lovely time, and if you were in the Canterbury Kent area and you had time, could take some hours out and have a stroll around here. There is still much more to see, but yeah, hopefully this should be an idea enough of this is the local primary school, which is tied to the parish of St Mary's. Back to the centre and to the front of the castle. So like we said, the castle initially owned by the Diggs family, and the other prominent family in the village. A lot of the memorials in the church, St Mary's, is related to the Diggs family. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time in another location.